when we talk about theater as an art, so it must have some kind of different elements also, some different kind of styles also. So can we talk about some about it?
So even if you see Natya Shastra, it is going to have the elements. Like there are three different kinds of characters or artists, basically. So in any kind of emotion, like one chapter is on emotion. So they are going to explain to you that, oh, there was, so the high class people, they perform like this. Like, for example, in the emotion of sadness. So the high class or the high caste character will perform sadness like being very like, oh my God, like shit, this has happened. Da, da, da. And then the middle class will be like a bit more like, oh my God, this has happened. And they probably cry a little bit. And then the lower caste people are just going to beat their chest and be like, all of that.
Hey guys, welcome to the new podcast. So in today's podcast, we'll talk all about theater industry, how you can be a theater artist. For that, we have Aishwarya with us. Hi Aishwarya, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, Aishwarya. Okay guys, so Aishwarya is directly, I think we are connecting from Pune, if I am not wrong. Yeah, so from Pune, she's with us and she will tell all about theater, how you can be a theater artist, all career opportunity as a theater artist, and all those things we'll talk. So my very first basic kind of a question to you, Aishwarya, over here is, okay, first of all, tell me if you want to explain theater art, how are you going to explain theater art in your own words?
I think it's like a synergy of a team working together. And it's like everybody's creativity also sort of comes together. And from that symbiosis, something beautiful, a good piece of art, a narrative, a commentary, a critique about some social political issue, or just a little, say something just as small as, the phenomenon of small seed sprouting. That can also become a theater piece, like any story. So everybody's energies come together, different kinds of skill sets, different kinds of approaches, ways of looking at things, they all come together. And I think that's how I would sort of explain what theater is or theater art.
Great. Okay, so if we talk about theater in India, or basically how we got theater as in from our origin or from our, from our ancestors, because there is something like in the old time when we used to have like kings and all kingdoms and all those things. That time also there was some theater art that time. So how it originate and how it bring it to India and how people see it, like in India, how we say ki theater art is this. How we explain theater art as on the perspective as an Indian perspective.
So let me start by telling you that any kind of history, if we talk about it in today's or India's sort of context, I don't think it can ever have like a origin, or we can pin down one origin and say that this is from where Indian theater started, or I don't even know if there's something called a Indian theater per se, because we have different states, union territories, different regions, and each of these different geographical areas have their own kind of culture, and in that also there's a lot of diversity, right? So then each small culture, each small kind of it will have its own approach towards theater. But when we talk about it like from a very let's say that how, like where would have it originated and all of that. So there are a lot of course, theories, and theater as a word also comes from the Greek word theatron, and it just means a place of viewing. So today, like I and you, we are viewing each other. So even this can be called a theater that way, right? But let's just say that when it comes to India, I mean, there are some people who say that it dates back to the Sanskrit theater, but then there are also many indigenous theater practices that are still there. Or let's just not directly call it theater practices, but performance practices, which have been there for years together, which have of course evolved, but they have been there before even Sanskrit. And then, of course, there, like in any, if we say a very Hinduism kind of a theater or whatever, there's always a caste and all of that involved in all of that. So even if you see Natya Shastra, it is going to have the elements. Like there are three different kinds of characters or artists, basically. So in any kind of emotion, like one chapter is on emotion. So they are going to explain to you that, oh, there was, so the high class people, they perform like this. Like, for example, in the emotion of sadness. So the high class or the high caste character will perform sadness like, being very like, oh my God, like, shit, this has happened. Da, da, da. And then the middle class will be like a bit more like, oh my God, this has happened. And they probably cry a little bit. And then the lower caste people are just going to beat their chest and be like, all of that. So that kind of also typecasting in a way. It already happens in those kind of texts. But overall, I think like from when we start actually talking about the modern theater or the theater of today, like the theater that we know of today, it sort of started somewhere in the middle 19th century. Now I can talk about Maharashtra because I'm more familiar with this area. And my research also deals with Maharashtra. So it people say that it started with this guy called Vishnu Das Bhave, and there was a king in Sangli who ordered him to write some plays based on Yakshagana. Like he really liked the form of Yakshagana from Karnataka. So that is one of the theories. There is another theory which says that Tritiya Ratna, which was written by Phule, Mahatma Phule, that was the first play. So there's again a debate and all of that, who came first and all of that. But largely, I think the modern Indian theatre has been a very interesting mixture of the practices that we already had, the performance practices, be it dance, theatrical, drama, whatever, dance. And then there were also a lot of Shakespearean touring companies, theatre companies that were coming in during the British rule, the colonial rule in India. So at that time, these companies were touring. Then there were Parsi theatre groups which were also experimenting. So all of them have had a lot of influence on the way Marathi modern theatre has sort of developed and what we know today it of like being.
Okay, this is basically, you have explained like from the rudimentary thing, like as you are talking about on the basis of Maharashtra. So I think it's basically somewhere the connection is with the religion also. Yeah. So with this, there's one thing which comes to my head is like when we talk about theater as an art, so it must have some kind of different elements also, some different kind of styles also. So can we talk about some about it also? Like,
right. So I mean, technically, if we talk about it technically, there is theater can be anywhere. Like I said, it's just a place of viewing. So it can literally be anywhere. So you can't just be like, ये stage है तो ये theater है. ऐसे नहीं होता है. It like we also see in village fairs, in our like general local festivals or something, that there's some performance, some kind of drama, some kind of theater going on, right? So that is also theater. We can also consider that as theater, right? So it's a place of viewing, be whatever it may be. Like it is not necessarily a proscenium stage. Actors are a very important element. The director, the writer, the set designer, the light person. I mean, light is like now one of the modern elements of theater, of course. Yeah. But like today, I think we are also sort of moving or trying to also explore what all different languages we can through light, or through sound becomes a very important element of theater, that how can we play with sound to create some different affect for the audience to experience. And of course the audience becomes one of the major aspect, because if there's nobody watching me there, then I am like it's not theater, because it is a place of viewing, so somebody has to view you, right? And then there is backstage. I mean, I think backstage is like the spinal cord of any performance, where you cannot do without them. I mean, you cannot even move like a little chair from here to there without them.
Yeah. So you're talking about this lightning thing, that this plays a very vital role. So this brings to me like somewhere I've read. It's like if you are like facing the camera and there is a side light, this shows that you are doing a very intense or a kind of a sad scene, because the shadow is somewhere. Your one side is having the light and the other side is having the shadow. Same if the lightning is coming from the forehead, it shows a very low scenes, because your eye will have some dark things over here. So can you tell a bit more, because I have a very basic knowledge about this. Can you tell a bit more about this?
I mean, I also sort of have like, because I'm not a light person, so I don't know a lot about this, but what you're saying is right. The light also helps give the actors the characters that they are performing. So for example, in a play, if you see that there is a footlight, so a light which is coming from below, then you are going to see that person as a huge, like he having a huge success, or becoming this morbidly huge character, or probably just somebody who is about to reach the peak of his or their or her career.
We see these kind of lights in horror movies also.
Yes, very right. And then it just, because it visually also, like, of course the script is going to be there, the narrative is going to be there, but visually also you have to build that the visual for the audience, that they have to feel that, oh my god, he's become so big. Because you see, when the light is from here, the shadow is going to be very big. Right? So I think I mean I'm not the right person to tell you about lighting per se.
Okay. So now we are talking about all about theater. So people must be wondering, who are watching this podcast, that how I can be a theater artist, what all skills I required, or what all skills do I already have those skills, or I need to learn those skills. So is there any process of learning theater, or if you have these kind of skills, then only you can go to a theater industry? So like, first I want to know about those skills. Secondary, if you have those skills, then only you can switch to theater kind of a thing, or you can learn it and you can mold yourself to the theater. What's your opinion on this?
I think theater in general is about human behavior, in the sense that it is about observing what people around you are and how they are, and in what light they are coming, or what kind of sound is there around you, and then you just try to build that into theater. Because again, theater is nothing but I won't say a reflection, but a kind of a image of a society, where it can act as a direct image, like a mirror image. It can act as a reflection. It can act as a commentary, where if I am saying that, okay, I am against this particular practice and I want to say that through my theater, I am going to do that. I'm going to say that through my theater. So I think the most important skill, I won't call it skill, because then, it gets too mechanized in the process. मेरे को ये skill मिलेगा, मैं ये करूँगी. It's not like that, I think. It's about the way you observe things, how empathetic and sympathetic you are to other human beings around you. And then, of course, there are the basic, like the light designer needs to have certain skills like hand-eye coordination and all of that to work on the lights. The sound person has to have a certain sense of, what kind of soundscape can I create, or what kind of music this particular emotion would have. So those elements though are there. It's like again a mixture of a lot of art practices sort of coming together. But I can tell you about acting, and I think in acting one of the most important element for anybody to have to even begin to or even try is to listen to each other, because when you listen, you are actually listening to what the other person is saying, and then you're not just reacting, then you have to respond. Yeah. And then there is this improvisation technique, and you have to be imaginative, you have to be like superbly okay. Like for example, if there is a devising that is happening for a play, like before we actually get on to doing a play, we want to do some improvisation. So in that, I'll give you a theme. I'll say, okay, you are Raja, you are Praja, act now. So one has to have awareness about the surroundings. What does it mean to be a Raja, or what does it mean to be a Praja? And then respond accordingly. Then there is the way you speak, your body language, the way you do gestures. I mean, for the longest times, I did theater just clenching my fists and being like this, because I did not know what to do with my hands, right? But then eventually, I think meeting also like wonderful people in the journey, and still meeting them and still learning from them, you get to know, what do people do with their hands? How do they react to certain things? What are their body languages? Stuff like that. So I think for an actor, that's like one of the most important things. And then it depends what kind of acting you do. Like, are you like a method actor? Like, are you going to get into the character of a person and then observe them for like 100 days, whatever days, and then get into the character yourself and become that person yourself? So yeah, I think they are different kind of. It's not just one. I think you just need to be a human to be in theater, like, or to be a theater artist. There's
just be yourself, just like open yourself and express yourself and imaginative. Just be like whatever like best you can take out from yourself. Just live that moment. If there is a scene, think yourself that I'm over there like this way. How much I'm like getting it from your thoughts. It's more like you have to be like more into the scene.
You have to be imaginative, you have to be aware, and you have to have a presence of mind. Yeah.
So I want to know basically, like, I want to know your journey as a theater artist. Like the people who are watching this podcast, they will maybe somewhere relate, or somewhere they will see, okay, this way she have seen her journey, so maybe I will also. Maybe you cannot copy someone else's journey, but you can learn from someone else's journey. So can you please explain your?
So I mean, I was kind of born into a family who was already into theater. So my dad's an actor, and both of them, my mom and dad, they were working in this community sort of a play that was happening in Maharashtra at that time. I think this was the 80s probably, and they also met in that play, and then they fell in love and they had me and everything. So I like to believe that I was like a theater baby. So like right from my birth, because it was also a community play and literally anybody could participate. I was born into it, and I know stage since I was a kid. So there was never that, anxiety or stage fright. And, that was never there. It was just like, you have to just go and do that. But then this was also a very commercial kind of a play. Like it started as a community play, but then it became commercial over time. And it was a historical play. So the genre was fixed. The narrative was fixed. And it also had a recorded sound. So I actually never had to say anything on the stage. I just had to lip sync. So I was like, okay, dude, like I can do theater and stuff. And then I remember in my school, because all the teachers and everybody knew that I used to do theater and everything. So one of my professors, she approached me and she was like, okay, let's do this theater for gathering and everything. So I was like, okay. And it was the first time I actually had to go out on the stage and say things. And I became super conscious, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I have to say lines, I have to say lines. And then I practiced them, and practiced them. And then it went great. I mean, my principal was super like impressed with my performance and everything. And that's how I also knew that, okay, this is what I want to do with my life, theater. And then 11th and 12th, I was in Pune in SP College, and I think Pune has a beautiful theater scene in terms of college, inter-college theater, intergroup theater, festivals, and it comes up with a lot of good plays as well. Um, so I got intrigued and interested in the inter-college. So then I did some inter-college plays with SP. And then for some reason, I thought that, you know what, theater and everything is good, but it does not pay me. So I need to have a career in life. So then I decided that, okay, I'll go to journalism. And then I went to bachelor's in Ruia in Mumbai. And even there, I participated in the inter-college competitions and everything. And then, I don't know, it was some kind of a interesting twist to everything. I was extremely disillusioned by journalism. And I said, ये झूठ बोलना मेरे से नहीं हो पाएगा. So I wanted to get into research and like cultural research especially. So I found out that, oh, there's this course in JNU. It's called this, da, da, da. So I just like filled out the form. देखते हैं, तब तो पता भी नहीं था JNU क्या है, कौन है, कैसा है. ये कन्हैया कुमार वगैरह उस दौरान सब कुछ हो गया. But then तब तक I did not know. And I gave the exam, and then हो भी गया मेरा. And everybody's like, oh, you want to JNU, everything. But then the course had everything I wanted. It had visual studies, it had cinema studies, and it had theater studies. And my mind was just blown. I was like, wow, this is something that I want to do. And that's where I am right now. I'm doing now my MPhil in theater and performance studies. And I also keep writing short pieces to perform once in a while. Because of the pandemic, haven't gotten the time to actually be part of a play or, like do something. And I don't know, like I am a bit, I have a bit of an aversion to online theater. I do appreciate the cine theater form, but online theater is something like I can't watch people in small windows. It's just, I don't know. I have a problem with it. But yeah, I have been, so just before the pandemic struck in 2019, October, I did a solo performance play called Death of an Anti-National. I did 3 shows in Pune and 1 reading in my university. And before that, in JNU, me and a friend of mine, we performed a series of performances which were about gender. And before that, in JNU, I did a play with Swati, which was called In the Shadows of the Pomegranate Tree. It was based on a book. So yeah, I mean, theater has always been a part of my journey, my life till now. And it's also something that I deeply care about, you know. It's history, it's the present of it, the future of it, everything. So yeah, that's what it is.
It's so like when you are explaining all these things now, I can imagine you are just reliving all those your journey when you are speaking this. So it's so raw, it's so kind of, so that's great. That's how, like, you, when you see your journey back and you're like, yeah, lots of up and down, then maybe I'm doing something good, because I'm happy I'm doing something good. Okay, so with this, there's one doubt which comes to my head. So even I have this doubt that Nukkad Natak, I listen this word a lot. So is Nukkad Natak is different from doing theater, or is this the same thing?
See, again, it is theater. It is performance. It is called Nukkad because it is done on the streets or on the corners or in the open, basically. It also has its own kind of history. And there's a lot to learn from Augusto Boal and Badal Sarkar about all of these things. And of course, I mean, the form is beautiful. And I think I have never done a Nukkad for, I don't know for what reasons, but I don't know. There were competitions happening, but I was always in the theater stage thing, never on the Nukkad side. But I think Nukkad has the power of actually reaching out to people to whom theater is not affordable, or for two people जो नाटक देखने जाते नहीं होंगे, that it probably would not cross a corporate's mind that, oh, today I'll go and watch a theater play. It won't. But if the same corporate person is, say, just on his bike or her bike or their bikes, and just at a signal and they see something happening, like we are Indians, we just stop at any goddamn brawl that is happening. So we'll just talk a gaddi kyun hai, let me see. So we are going to go and watch it, right? So I think it reaches very important and very mass level people, and it's a group wherein there are a lot of different people also coming together. In a sense of, as a viewer, you can be a corporate, a CEO of a company, or somebody who's working on daily wages, or somebody who's just begging on the side of the street, or a student. It's like anybody can come together, stand together and watch it. So I think that is something very beautiful about Nukkad. And it's also the content of it, right? I mean, it is going to talk about a lot of social issues, a lot of political issues. We know of a lot of activists who were killed just because of their activism, just because of the kind of issues they were raising. And I think theater, any kind of theater, has always been a very important social, political tool in the hands of lay people to just, talk about any issue that they feel is worth talking about.
Yeah. Okay, so beside this, like we are talking all about theater and all those things. Like people are still figuring out the careers in theater industry, and they are like, yeah, I don't know where to go, how, why, how. Well, these all question marks comes when they are talking at theater. There are a lot of people who are doing theater, so this industry is having kind of very messy, lots ups and downs. It's too risky, these kind of questions come. So if you want to talk about the career opportunities and the career in the theater industry, how are you gonna explain this to the people who are watching the podcast?
Okay, I am not going to paint a rosy picture. I am just going to tell you what it is. Yes, it is not very glamorous. It has never been glamorous. I mean, tum nautanki wale ho is always a gali, and then even like with our freedom and everything, we got everything, all of that. Even after that, we were not able to actually, as a country, we were not able to give theatre the place that it actually deserves. There were a lot of talks about national theatre hona chahiye, ye hona chahiye, but hamare desh mein Indian bol ke, again, there is nothing. Like, you cannot say that this is an Indian identity or this is Indian theatre, because it is, of course, going to have a lot of cultural differences and diversity, and then it will again be privileging one kind of culture over another, right? So that, due to whatever etc. reasons, there's a lot of research on it, that has never happened. But I think, again, for somebody who's hoping to be in theatre, even if it's not a rosy picture, there is still a lot of funding that is there, which comes from the government, which comes from some foundations from outside of India, some European foundations, and now there are different kinds of non-profit foundations and everything, charity trusts and everybody who give out a lot of funds for people to perform, to experiment with theater. So I won't say that theater is dying, because I can't also. I don't want it to also. But I think what everybody sort of needs to do, because we also live in this age where digital, virtual, social media, all of these have become extremely an inseparable part of our lives, right? And it's good in a way, because today, you and me, we can connect like this, we can talk like this. You're sitting in Delhi, I'm sitting in Pune, and we can still talk, which is great, amazing. uh, but then the thing about, like, even if films have made their way, or um, the television made its way into our lives, and most of the people say that it was because of these two mediums that we actually lost sort of theater. uh, but it is more than that, I think. While doing any activity, while um, interacting with any kind of medium, we have to be aware of who we are and not entirely lose ourselves to it. The same goes with theater as well, and the same goes with social media and films and television. So you cannot lose your criticality and just be like, okay, I am going to watch any Tom, Dick, and Harry film that is going to come up just because it's entertainment, right? So yeah, for somebody who wants a career in theater, join theater groups around you. If you don't have any theater groups, go to a drama school if you can afford it. Go to workshops. There are also a lot of free workshops that do happen. Try reading some books on theater if that will get you interested into doing theater, or just sort of see if I'm interested in it. And then I mean, it's a network after all, and a lot of theater artists that we know, like people coming out of NSD today, have gone on to become brilliant film actors, film directors even. But then they all also have a connection with theater, and like Nasiruddin Shah, for example, they still do theater, even if for their bread and butter they have to earn money from the film. Or there is Piyush Mishra. So, I mean, it's not like there is no hope for theatre, but for there to also be hope, we also need people to think about it, or for people to even address that, oh, theatre karke hota hai. Because I know a lot of people who have not even watched one theatre play in their whole lives. And that is something which I'm like, how can you not? Like, it's happening constantly around you. Like, how can you not go and watch a theater play? So that's one thing. The other thing is that I don't know why. Probably people think of theater as this primitive form or whatever that is. But people are willing to pay 400 to 800 to 1000 rupees for a film in a Cinemax or whatever. And they will pay the equal amount of money to probably just, spend at a cafe, to just drink your coffee and post like interesting Instagram pictures or whatever that is. But people are not willing to pay like a mere 300 rupees for a theater ticket. They think, oh, theater के इतना पैसा क्यों ले रहे? लगता है बाबा. Like, everybody needs to, and that's still less. Like, it does not cover everything, right? I mean, the two shows that I did, and it was like my first kind of professional experience doing my own shows and everything. And I invested an X amount, and I made like uh, 1000 rupees on it. So I was not even able to pay the people who are working for me. So, I mean, people also have to give hope for theater to be there and love it equally, because it's not just theater walon ka, it's for all of us. So yeah.
Yeah, but what I think, like when you were explaining all this, so you are saying movies and all, but nowadays we are saying if I want to watch a movie paying 400 rupees, I will prefer a stand-up comedy show paying 400 rupees. This is the trend. Like, the corporate culture is like people are spending their weekends on a stand-up comedy show or going for any kind of a concert, something like this. So don't you think it will gonna happen in future for theater also? Because I think people are now more interested in raw emotions or natural. They are not no more interested into some fake things like some Bollywood movies do exaggerate a lot, but now they are more interested into raw or something which is too candid or something which is you know extempore kind of like you go on stage and do it like. So theater is all about this where you improvise and all this. So I think maybe in future, like in coming years, maybe it can also open a scope for theater artists, like people going for a weekends only to watch theater. What do you think? Well, I am just while you were explaining this, I am just imagining this, and this can also happen.
I mean, that's a very beautiful picture, and I would really like to be a part of it. But see, again, the thing is that here we are talking about a very select kind of public that we know who actually go to watch, say, stand-up comedy or open mics or whatever that is. I think it's. I mean, when it comes to talking on a mass level or a very people level, it has, I mean, the film and the television is still dominated. Like, for example, tomorrow if I tell my Aji that, hey, listen, grandma, can you come with me for a theater play? It's at 7:30. She'll be like, nahi, nahi, meri wo saas bhi kabhi bahuti ki serial hai. Saat kabhi. Maine aana hai. So, that kind of a thing where they are like, no, I am not going to go. Because this is more important, or it's not about being important, it's just the form of awareness, entertainment, whatever, your politics probably that you choose.
I think very few people are those who can relate with theater art, because it's more all about being socially connected, bringing different kind of topics all together. So there are few kind of people who are like, यार मेरे को वीकेंड एंजॉय करना है यार, थिएटर में जाके आई डोंट वांट टू गेट इमोशनल एंड मुझे थोड़ा ज्ञान नहीं, people to have this thing, यार मेरे को वीकेंड एंजॉय करना है, I have to watch a movie or even I have to hang out with friends, chill करना है, so I think there are very few target audience who really do appreciate theater as an art.
Theater में भी genres है, ऐसा नहीं है ना that all theater is about very like deep and like being like super serious और तुम रो दो अभी, तुम नहीं रोए तो. It's not like there are comedy theater plays as well, but nahi chalte. Like very few actually do. And I mean, there are a few theater plays which I know have a lot of social political content, which have done 800 shows. Jo baki ke theater plays go in dabbas after like 10, 15, 20 shows. So, I mean, it's not like all the themes are like that. वैसे देखा जाए तो then even stand-up comedy is political. Even, you go there to, have your tongue in the cheek. So you're not going to be like, oh, मैं इधर आया हूँ, मेरे को entertain करो, मेरे को like don't give me shit. Like, how long are you going to run away? Like, that's also one question, that how long are you going to run away from the actual questions that are really there in front of you? And then you just go back home, you watch your TV, you watch your news show, and in that you get all the propaganda. फिर तुम्हारे दिमाग का मैगी बन जाता है 2 मिनट में, खत्म. Yeah. है ना? So it's just, I mean, it's also about the choices after all that we make, I think, that are important. I'm sorry if I'm going on this activist or whatever philosophical mode. So sorry.
So, okay, so this is basically, on this we are like coming to the end of this podcast, but at the end I just want to know, like, as if you are, like, if you have to represent yourself as a community of theater artists, what one statement or what one kind of a thought you want to bring it out over here as a theater artist?
I think just create, express, and be who you are and who you aspire to be, rather than, actually acting in real life when nobody's viewing you, to fit into some kind of, some given, that, oh, I am a man, I have to behave in this way, oh, I'm a woman, I have to put on a lipstick or whatever. Just be whatever you are. And I think theater also gives you that space to be who you are, to literally explore, what your body is wanting you to explore. So yeah, I think it's just be who you are. I don't know if I can represent the whole theater community. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. But I would say that for myself, it's just be who you are, and we perform every day. So don't forget that theater is a very integral part of you, because everybody is constantly watching each other.
Yeah. Okay, this brings to me the last question of this podcast, which I ask in each and every podcast to all the people. Like, as an artist, nowadays it's all about more about numbers, or more about how many views you are getting on your YouTube video and all those things. So is it important for a artist or an individual who want to grow in some particular industry to go behind numbers, or you should only see your satisfaction if you uploaded a video and you are satisfied with your content, no matter how many views are getting? It's like, yeah, bro, I am satisfied. People are liking it. Very few people are liking it. I am done with that. No matter it's getting viral or not. So, as an artist, do we have to look for that also, or is it like कि नहीं यार अपनी satisfaction हो गई, मेरा काम हो गया, that's enough?
It's both, no. I mean, if तुम्हारा पेट उस चीज पे है तो likes और ये सब तो करना ही पड़ेगा. तुम्हारा पेट उस चीज पे नहीं है तो you create whatever you want and just be happy with it. But then I think there's also a middle way where you say what you want to say, and you say it in such a way that people are going to come and, just look for you कि ये इसने क्या बोला, क्यों बोला. So I think there are also those tricks and different approaches that we can take to, I hate the word, but market ourselves, which I don't know if I do barely, but one can do that very intelligently, where let's say not just for the likes or views or whatever, but for the message or for the content to actually reach out to people, rather than the likes, views, comment, share, whatever, subscribe. I think for the content to reach out there, we have to be tricky, we have to be intelligent. बाहर कैसे जा रहा हो, ये कितने लोगों तक मुझे पहुंचाना है and कैसे पहुंचाना है.
And analytics and all those things. So you should know a bit of that, because in today's scenario, I think it's all about this. You should also know something. Okay, so I think we have covered everything almost. If you have anything beside this, we can also, like, it's open for you if you want to say something. Okay, that's great. Okay, thank you so much, Aishwarya, for your time, and I hope so you enjoyed the podcast. Yeah, it was. It was it was a very refreshing moment, I think, for me, because it also made me talk about a lot of things related to theater, and why do I like it in the first place? Because in the course of the time, you're just doing things, and you forget, like, hey, why did you start doing this, or how did you end up here or land up here? So yeah, I think it's really, really nice to revisit this through this podcast, and thank you so much for inviting me. Okay, thank you so much for the people who are viewing this podcast and connected with us from so long. Thank you so much, and I hope so you like it. If you wanna watch such kind of podcast in future, do like, subscribe, and comment. And bye bye. See you in the next podcast.